Welcome back to Daytime Ottawa here on Rogers TV. I'm not going to call it a controversial topic because it shouldn't be controversial, but you know, when some people hear the term alternative family, there's a lot of questions that come about, and a lot of inappropriate questions that come about as well. Well, our next guest has written a book to educate people out there about alternative families. We are joined by Stephanie Kane, also known as Steff F. Kneff. She is the author of Emlyn and the Gremlin. Welcome to the show. Great to have you here. And it's true, I'm sure throughout the years, so first of all, how would you describe an alternative family? What does that term, that distinction mean exactly?
I think now, these days, the alternative family is gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgendered parents and their children. Obviously, alternative has kind of a broader connotation, but as we move away from the term queer toward alternative, I think the LGBT people have kind of taken over the word.
Right.
Yeah.
And this has been challenging, I'm sure, for you. You and your partner, you have a daughter, Emlyn, I'm assuming.
That's right.
Is your daughter's name. And what sort of prejudices have you seen? I mentioned those difficult and inappropriate questions that you probably get as a family. Maybe you can speak on that a little bit.
I think generally people are not overtly rude.
Right.
So what we kind of face is more of a subtle prejudice, more of an assumption. So it seems to still be a surprise for people that my daughter has two mothers. It's, you know, if I take her to the library one week and then my wife takes her the next week, it's, oh, if you're her mother, okay, you know, so there's kind of a step back. People don't generally come up and say mean things to us.
Right.
It's just kind of a continuous fight for equality, I guess, is what's kind of going on.
And awareness too, right?
Yeah.
Because, you know, families, you say alternative, but there could be grandparents who are taking care of kids or a single dad or whatever. Like the family, the nuclear family it hasn't been nuclear family for a long time.
No.
So
I think you're really right about that. And that has already woven its way into the public consciousness. Two moms and two dads is still relatively new, and it's something that people are not expecting. For me, when I went to write this book, it was kind of in response to the total lack of books like this that I found.
Right.
So I was wanting to find any book with two moms so that, you know, reading to my daughter, she would see herself reflected. Other kids with two moms would see themselves reflected. And there's just so little that, you know, as an author, I said, I can take a break from writing adult books and now write kid-lit books.
So what's the response been amongst the LGBT community?
I think just the community in general, it's been very, very positive. So I've had, you know, tons of compliments. We're on Facebook, so I have lots of likes, and, you know, people are really enthusiastic about it. I've had some radio interviews and things, so I think people are understanding that there's a need for this type of book, and they're really helping me on my way.
So tell us about what's the premise? What's the storyline?
So Emlyn is sure a gremlin sneaks into her house at night because when she wakes up in the morning, her toys are everywhere, there's gadgets and glitter all over her room, and Moose, her Great Dane, should be guarding the house. But he's so afraid, he hides in his fort and he's not doing anything. So Emlyn's mothers say, there are no gremlins. Gremlins don't exist. But one day she overhears them talking and then she meets Gremlin for herself.
So a real gremlin.
A real gremlin is sneaking into the house at night, right over Moose's head.
And is this, is it a bad gremlin? Is this
it sparkles, it gives glitter. I mean,
does it give glitter?
Gremlin's a little naughty. She
really?
is, but she might make a new friend in this book. I won't spoil the ending.
So the connection as your daughter gets older with bullying and things might become a bit overt, what can parents do? What are you and your wife doing to sort of prepare her without making her hypersensitive to everything so that she just has a normal childhood?
I think we keep in mind that for the children of her generation, two mom and two dad families are kind of the norm. You know, this isn't something that children really need explained to them anymore. Parents maybe are a little bit more hesitant, but my main point with writing Emlyn and the Gremlin was this is a genuine story. It's something that all kids can enjoy, and in the background are her two mothers. And that's kind of how Emlyn's life is, you know? She's the center of the universe, and her mothers are in the background. So her little friends get that, and I'm I'm thinking that as she goes to school, I'm hoping that that will just continue. But as kids have more diverse literature available to them in story hours, in the bookstores, that will just become part of their consciousness. And I'm hoping by the time she gets to school, the bullying will really, be decreasing.
Availability. Let's talk about that.
Okay.
You'd love to see it. You'd love to see it in schools. You'd love to see it in libraries. It's been very successful so far, but you can't find it in a mainstream chapters.
Not yet.
Okay.
So
do we know why?
We're not sure, and we're
Okay.
not going to make any assumptions about that.
All
but
right.
when you go into chapters, you can get it on the kiosk. You
Okay.
can get it at Amazon.com. I would like to see it on the shelves.
Right.
And that is my next step.
Is there anything like this on the shelves?
Not that I've seen.
No.
If there were, I would have bought it. So
Well, I can imagine it really sparking conversation. Say it was in a library and a kid brings it home because it looks
Yeah.
like a fun book, and Mom, there's, and can you explain this to me? And
Yeah.
that it actually opens a whole conversation that you have to trust those parents to put it in a way that is understandable for kids, but also speaks to the broader cultural situation.
yeah, that's right. I mean, this book is aimed for children kind of 3 to 6. So
Okay.
at that age, parents are responsible for their kids' reading material. If a parent is not comfortable bringing that book into their house, they don't have to. But if a child picks it up and says, "This looks like an awesome, fun story, Mom," whether that child comes from a gay or straight family or any other number of structures, this book is for them. As long as their parents say, "This is a great story, let's read it."
You're working on a second. I should say, not just working on it. You have finished a second book. So, is it a
have.
sequel to this book?
It is part 2 of
Okay.
the 3 books we have this year. It's actually already illustrated. It's already up on the kiosk at Chapters. You can pre-order it, which is super exciting for me. That's never happened before with any of my adult books. So I was like, look, you can see it online. And the 3rd book will come out in December.
Why a pen name, by the way?
Well, I used to have time to write for adults. I used
Okay.
to be Stevie McCain, and I wrote, adult literature.
Okay.
So this, I wanted an interactive site so the kids can go on, they can print a coloring page, they can look around, answer some fun questions, but that doesn't necessarily belong with my other literature. So
Right.
2 pen names.
I got
And
you.
this one's fun.
This one's fun. Yeah.
You have a book signing coming up.
I do.
At Chapters Rito.
That's right.
Hear that, Chapters? She's going to be signing books there.
Yeah.
Just putting it. So when and where? Sorry, when is this? When is the signing?
That will be this Saturday, the 26th of July, from 11 to 1.
Terrific. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you
Steff.
so much
really
for
do
having me.
appreciate it, and congratulations on the books.
Thank you.
Yes.
Come
well
back
done.
when you release the next one,
I
would
will,
you?
The mean
Excellent.
cat. The mean cat.
Oh, that's right. It's Emlyn and the Gremlin and the mean old cat.
Yes.
Looking forward to that.
Thank you.
Don't go. We're heading outside because, as we said, it's Food Truck Week, and Dosha is standing by. We're going to introduce you to Jake and Benny right after this. Don't go anywhere.